my name is Heather Bryant. I just wanted to introduce a little bit our speakers for the evening and say a little bit about how the schedule is going to go. I myself am local to the area. I've been working with the Keshe technology. Gosh, it's been a year now, hasn't it? Next week will be a year since he started doing all the public teachings. Wow. And like a lot of you, we've converted our garage and our kitchen and our second bedroom into plasma technology, chemistry experiments, and nano-coating things everywhere. And so we have a fortune today to have Cary Ellis and Whitney Fisher, who are, they are definitely superhumans, plasmacists, traveling around the country basically doing workshops on the Keshe technology. They're doing 2- and 3-day workshops just about every weekend, right? And some of the days in between. Wow, that's a lot of work for what, about a month now? Yeah. And then from here they're going down to Oregon and then California, and then what happens after that?
Sedona, Colorado.
And then Sedona and Colorado. So if you know people in those areas, let them know they're coming. And so since they were coming through here, we said, let's do a workshop, let's do an expo, which we're doing this next weekend. We'll talk about that as the day goes on. And Carrie does regular shows with 21st Century Superhuman is what her production is, more than every month. I know you put them out every week or so. Geez. Interviewing all kinds of different types of people that are doing consciousness work. She's a consciousness guru in her own right, writes her own books that she has out in the front there. And lately has been into the Keshe technology and interviewing a lot of the people that are at the kind of the forerunners of playing with this technology. And boy, I just love her shows. Whenever you get on YouTube, look those up because the interviews go over a lot of things. So as far as the evening, I'll just say a thing or two that Carrie's going to go ahead and do not PowerPoint, but just a slideshow of some of the general information about Keshe technology and kind of get a little feel for people's knowledge level on that, and then we'll gear the discussion to that. And we'll have a little break, and then afterwards we'll have an interview setting with some of the people that are here that are really playing deep with the technology. Dr. Rodrigo is going to talk with Carrie, get a lot more insight and information about where he's going with his amazing work with the technology, and some of the others of us that are in the area and traveling. Okay, so I'll let Carrie give it a go.
So how many are already knowledgeable involved with the Keshe technology, or watching shows? So we had a pretty interesting, are you guys watching the Knowledge Seekers sessions? And how many of you been to the workshops or teaching Dr. Rodrigo's been doing? Nice, so you guys are pretty knowledgeable. One of the really cool things that we're going to do tonight is we're going to record a 21st Century Superhuman show. So any of you that speak up, you'll be on that show. And what Whitney and I have been doing as we travel across the country, does anybody have any objection to showing up on the show if the camera were to go around or anything like that? It's wonderful that you're all into what you are. And we hope what we will do tonight is give you a vision of possibility, of how to get involved in this more deeply, how to implement it in your lives, how to keep studying, learning, and growing. And then this weekend, Sunday and Monday, we're going to have an expo, a hands-on expo, where we'll have a lot of stations where you can come and be like a kid, you know, and be making coils and making house pens and making house pads and getting tips from all of us on how to do those things and how to do them more easily. You know, once you get your hands on something and do it, it gets to be a lot easier to do it again. Hello there, come on in. So, I was in Florida By the way, I'm author of a book called 21st Century Superhuman. There's a couple of copies of it. I'm just carrying a couple of copies with me. It's out in the lobby if you want to take a look. But it's about how we are in the time that the ancients called the shift of the ages. And I wrote that 3 or 4 years ago, was traveling and teaching 21st Century Superhuman workshops and doing shows. And then I kind of bumped into the Keshe technology a year ago and began saying, this is an incredible body of information being given to us that is that space between spirit and matter. My contributor to the book, Teddy Mulder, who's been a friend since 1980, and we're kind of sisters on the path for many years, says Nellie Kane was an old spiritualist who used to be her teacher when she was 18 to 20 years old. And Nellie channeled the Ascended Masters, and she wore a ring on her hand, and she'd wave her hand, and ectoplasm would come pouring off of it. Because this is, as we've all been holding the field, meditating, envisioning, praying, envisioning a better world for all these years, right? I know everybody in this room, everybody in this community has been part of that. And here we are getting really what is a 4th and 5th dimensional science that is getting downloaded to us. And we have to expand our brain cells in order to encompass it. Sometimes when we're teaching, people say, wow, it's just so much, I'm in overload. But the thing is, we have to just keep remembering to breathe and smile and open up our neurobiology, which is what I teach in 21st Century Superhuman, and let our brain cells open up to a new level. You know, I mean, we're not 97% junk DNA, and we're not only using, 5 or 10% of our brains. It's all there for us to use. It's just we're ready to take a step out of some old programming into a new science. So, as I was told in Florida, Carrie, I was just told, I was watching the parody of the election that's going on and all these crazy things, and I'm involved in the global humanitarian funding and knowing that things have got to move, that old, dark systems have got to start moving out of the way. And just this voice said to me, drive across North America with plasma. And I just went, okay. I'm driving a 94 Toyota Previa out there. My possessions literally fit in a quarter of that van because I have been traveling the last few years since I wrote 21st Century Superhuman. Just let go and said, I'm going to travel the world. I'm going to walk barefoot through the earth and bring awakening information to people because I feel like we're living in really critical times. And the opportunity to wake up is here. The universe is moving. It's moving in our behalf, and we have to step forward and take up that vendetta, take up that sword, take up those tools and begin implementing them. So GANS is wonderful. We have GANS on the stage here. One of the things we've been carrying with us, this is a bottle of sea GANS that Heather made from here by Whidbey Island. So we're carrying a bottle of sea GANS with us. It has been contributed to everywhere we go. And so what we're doing, we say plasma for peace. Plasma energy is here to help us leverage ourselves to move beyond the fossil fuel culture, the pharmaceutical culture. These are literally tools that are going to get governments to lay down their weapons. And these are the tools that will take us to space, that will help us teleport, that will help us fly our own spaceships, basically. And spaceships are literally vehicles of consciousness. So there's so much going on here. And Mr. Keshe says, before we can go to space and become galactic citizens, we've got to clean up the desktop. Got a little bit of a messy desktop here on the planet, right? So as we travel, we've been gathering sea GANS, and we're going to get into what GANS is and all of that in a little bit for those who don't know. But we've been gathering GANS that each group we've been with has potentized with their desire, their vision for world peace. And we will be mixing it with this GANS, and anyone who comes to the Expo over the weekend will be able to get a little jar of this mixed GANS from all the people that have been along the journey that is holding our desire for world peace. And then you'll be able to take that bottle of GANS home and keep adding fresh water to it, taking some and putting it into the waters where you live, and sending out the prayers for peace to the planet. So this is a really important part of what we're doing. So if we'd like to just close our eyes for a moment, and together send our intent to this Yelm bottle of GANS that is here in your midst and was created in your midst. Take a deep breath and smile and know that doing those two things, if you change nothing in your life but breathing and smiling, you're opening up the neurobiology for intentions and perceptions of love, and you will literally change life on planet Earth. So as you breathe and smile, envision this beautiful bottle of GANS, which is plasmatic energy, which is amplified atomic matter in its nano state. Send it your thoughts of love, your thoughts of peace, your thoughts of plenty for humanity. And let us send forth the vision of change on planet Earth, where there is a civilization founded in love, peace, and plenty for all, where we live as one world, one nation, one people. Thank you all, and this plasma will be sitting here on the stage throughout, and feel free to send it your intentions. We also have some great GANS drinking water out in front. So I'm going to just play a really short video clip here of Mr. Keshe just sharing the philosophy of what this is about. Some of you have probably already heard it if you're listening to the Knowledge Seekers. And then we'll go into a quick slideshow that's kind of an overview of vision of where we're going. And then we'll have our panel up here and discuss some things, and let's take it to the next level. And be thinking to yourself, if any of you have some great testimonials, I've been hearing a little bit on the sidelines of what you've already been doing with the Keshe technology. We'd love for you to share that a little later this evening. So think of your story that you'd like to share.
We are people listening from every corner of this planet. No knowledge has been dispersed so beautifully, so balanced across the planet, on this planet ever, maybe in the universe. You have the full potential of achieving everything in the universe. There is no need and there is no reason for man not to achieve. So, wherever you are, the way I taught you to make the coils double pole inside, you have continuous equal gravitational magnetic field, and if you put CO2 on it, and you put zinc on it, you have connected the emotion of the man to it on a stable condition, and you'll find out you become a very peaceful man. Here, instead of having galaxies and universes and creating connection magnetically, we have used the matter state gravitational magnetic field strength to dominate and dictate the shape of the plasma. The nanotechnology, the nanomaterial which you have collectively developed in different ways, by caustic, by electric currents, by whatever, fire or whatever, has that advantage that the matter, the nano and the plasma is all the same. So connection is very solid, it's very strong. The power of the plasma technology, the way we have thought, is beyond imagination of the man. Now you can create and control the plasma, which is the mother of the creation of the universe. You are given the seed of the essence of the creation. The foundation does not belong to no one and is not made of one anymore. You are developing it. You are structuring it. And from today, we'll be still the same. We'll still develop the technology in different names, in different colors, in different nationalities which they do not exist. It is beautiful when we see the Christian, the Muslims, the Jews, and every other belief are working together to build up systems. We have already become one faith. We already have become one nation, and we already become one planet. You got to remember one thing. Dates is irrelevant. Today is the last day of the Christian calendar, or tomorrow is the beginning of another. One day is connected to another. We don't stop. We are working around the clock. The Keshe Foundation team is working irrespective of time, position, religion, country. And now we achieve what we set out for.
I'm going to invite you all to ask yourselves, it's a little echoey, to enter into a new state of mind. And, you know, you might ask yourself, do I wish I had invited some of my friends tonight? Because we're entering something that is a new phase of humankind. This is a critical time on planet Earth. And we're either going to sink or swim. You know, we're going to take ourselves the next step, or we're going to just, you know, destroy ourselves. It's time for humanity to stand up. And what you can do in your own life, in your own world, with plasma technology is the most powerful thing you'll probably ever do, besides breathe and smile and hold love. Intentions and perceptions of love. And these things are given to the plasma. They go out from the plasma. But we can completely ramp up the field of this community and make it a resonant field for peace on the planet. And it will go everywhere. As I left to go on this trip, Mrs. Keshe called me and she said, or messaged me, and she said, Carrie, please take plasma technology to North America. She said, North America is way behind. You know, and it's because we're complacent. We have roofs over our heads. We have gas to put in our vehicles. We have, you know, we kind of have what we need, even if we're stretched, even if the economy is terrible, blah, 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 blah. But compared to many people in the world. But what Mrs. Keshe said, and Mr. Keshe telling her to tell me, if people will build MAGRAV units, it will send torus fields out into space that will begin changing the field. And people are doing this in other countries and simpler countries. And we can do it here. It's basically simple, simple stuff. And we're going to look at some of it tonight. I'm going to give you an overview. And then we're really going to do this thing this weekend. You know, if you have friends that want to come, bring them and play with us. Learn how to do these things. It's not complicated. But we've got to get out of our old box. You know, our old box is, you know, it takes a little boot in the rear to go beyond what we've been doing our whole lives. I know how to do this one thing. You know, what am I, like when I get up in the morning, you know what I'm the most excited about? To run out and look at my GANS and see how it's doing. Right, Dr. Rodrigo? I mean, this is what we do when we get into GANS and Coils and Nano-Coating. You know, our Coils are on the bathroom floor register and go in and go, oh, the Nano-Coating is looking good, you know. I mean, you get into like a whole new level of playing with materials. Basically, the field, the source field is flowing. It's what's flowing into creation. And when we make these tools that bring the magnetic and gravitational fields together, we begin being able to harness that source field. It's that simple. And this is what made my friend Jackie make a MAGRAV unit for her car and reduce her gas mileage or diesel mileage from 25 to 35 to 52 miles to a gallon. You know, there's people all over the world that have this happening, but we're in the early stages of this. We're learning the ABCs of a new science. And it doesn't just get dumped on us and told, oh, this is how it works. And some people say,
Mr. Keshe isn't that great a teacher because you're frickin' sitting in the room with Einstein. You know, I mean, you're sitting in the room with one of probably the most brilliant minds on the planet. And he's not gonna just hand it over to us because he wants us to learn. He wants us to take little steps and then bigger steps. And he wants us to move out of our comfort zone and start doing something new. So I'm gonna just invite everyone tonight, step out of your comfort zone, open up your mind and heart and say, how can I do this in my life? And how can I invite 5 of my friends? If you had invited 5 of your friends tonight, we had this place so packed we had to turn people away. I mean, as we go across the country, we know it's not how many, but it's the quality of people that are showing up. And this resonance, I was able to take GANS and nano-coated copper to Standing Rock, to a woman who lives at Standing Rock, and there's other people taking it up there. So Whitney's co-founder of a group called Many Hands for Peace, and we're going to talk about how plasma brings peace to the planet. We'll talk about that in a little bit when we have our panel. And Many Hands for Peace, the idea is that we get together as a community and build these things. You know, Dr. Rodrigo's off in his garage and he's building these fantastic things. And some of you probably look at him and go, wow, I can't really do that. You know, there's a lot of skill there that he's implementing. But the whole idea is many hands for peace. And we joke at our workshops, you know, somebody can run a drill. And somebody can bring copper. And somebody can bring seawater. And somebody can bring wire cutters. And somebody else can bring cookies. We always have cookies show up at our workshops because somebody can bring cookies. But the idea of Many Hands for Peace, we start emerging, we start coming out of this, you know, this civilization that is all about me, and all about what I can save, and all about what I've got to preserve, and all about what I've got to do, and coming together as a community, and doing it together, helping each other. You know, it's just amazing to see, you know, just a whole group of people get together. And some are running the drill, and some are holding the wire, and some are cutting the wire, some are measuring, and this is how we do it. This is how we do, this is how we really come together as a community to build microwave units and make GANs. We can do part of it at home, and then we have little meetings and come together to bring fantastic things forward in our community. Yelm can be a radiant presence for peace on the planet. We invite you. Start making copper coils. So we're going to look at this slideshow. I'm author of a book called 21st Century Superhuman. I wrote about 4 years ago, and it began traveling the earth as I did that. And as I said, there's a couple copies of it outside. It's available on Amazon Kindle. It was actually published in Hungarian this last year. Amazing. So, so the Keshe Foundation, the purpose of plasma energy and it being brought forth to the planet right now is to bring world peace, to get us operating together as a global community, to take down, you know, the walls of governments, countries, nations, and begin bringing us together as one community of humanity. You know of plasma in your world, nebulae, plasma balls, you know, the bursts on the sun, lightning, the aurora borealis, even in our blood there's plasma. Nassim Haramein says the universe is toroidal field within toroidal field. And so this is the shape when you start bringing the magnetic and gravitational fields together. We get these torus fields. We have a torus field that starts at our heart and goes out around us. And if we're breathing and smiling and centering in love, we mix our torus fields with one another. We enter into this loving community of humanity. Nikola Tesla played with plasma fields. Mr. Keshe is an Iranian nuclear engineer, nuclear physicist, and he began getting these downloads on plasma energy. And somebody said, oh, you should take it out and patent it and, you know, charge people a lot of money for it. And he said, no, I think I'm going to patent it to humanity. And I'm going to begin teaching it open source. So we have these open source teachings, 140 knowledge seekers workshops. You can look them up on YouTube, sit and listen for 4 hours to this brilliant science being downloaded. If you're just jumping in now, I recommend go onto YouTube, look up Keshe Foundation Knowledge Seekers, and start with maybe like 110 or up to 140, but take those last, you know, 30 or so units of it, and you'll kind of get an overview of what's going on right now. It's amazing. So basically,
a nano state of matter. We have a solid state of matter, liquid, and gas, which are basically our atomic structure, which we're familiar, with the atomic structure in school. But when we begin implementing some of these tools that we use in this new plasma technology, which is a little different than conventional, we begin creating and activating these nanoparticles, and we can have up to a layer of 45,000 layers of nanoparticles on the outside of a piece of copper, in this GANS water. And so the nanoparticles, and then, so we have GANS and then plasma on the right, where the nanoparticles are spread really far apart, and they're able to transmit the plasmatic field into our world. So it's a whole new way of being in this world. Mr. Keshe says if you have a single atom in a cubic meter, that plasma will cover the whole cubic meter. Nassim Haramein says 1 cubic foot of space has enough energy to power everything on Earth for a year. So we're talking getting how immense this field is that can be powering all our devices. It can be running everything on Earth. And it doesn't take a lot of it. But you have to begin experiencing it, getting these devices in your world and the GANs, and what does that feel like to be surrounded with an amplified plasmatic field? And this is really how we're designed to live. So this is GANS and what GANS making looks like. So GANS adds consciousness to the MAGRAV and other Keshe devices. Again, GANS is gas in its nano state. And it's very easy to make GANS. It's very fun. We're going to be doing clinics on Sunday. You can make it in 5 minutes, you can make it in an hour, and you can make it in days. There's different methods. And we make it out of a whole variety of things, from foods. This gives us the ability to literally feed a city with GANS plasmatic food. So this is taking us into a new comprehension of how to live in this world. So copper coils, interestingly, if you can see down in the lower left there, that was a crop circle that came out about a year ago. And it's got the circles of the MAGRAV device. The Keshe MAGRAV device showed up, and then a stacker, area for a stacker. So this is the, basically the torus fields are made from us stacking these nano-coated coils on top of each other. This is Ali down in the middle. He's one of the heads of the Universal Council, which is now approaching governments, asking them to lay down their weapons and become peacekeeping forces on the planet. So I've been watching Mr. Keshe. I did an interview with him. If you go to 21stCenturySuperhuman.com and look up online shows, you'll find a show guide I've done about 30 shows on the Keshe material. And they're sort of a transition, it's easier than sitting and listening to a knowledge seeker and getting the information kind of easily. How many people have listened to my shows? I know some people, wow, look at you guys. So y'all know, how many of you listened to my interview with Mr. Keshe? Very good. Well, I'll tell you a really quick story since this is a special audience here. By the way, how many of you have been in Yelm a long time? Like many years. If any of you knew her, I had a very dear friend here named Amantha Myers, who passed a few years ago. One of my closest sisters on the planet. I used to come and do, went and found my drawing out in the field, and did some of the ceremonies and all the different things that were going on here, like, I don't know, around 2000 or something like that. But, okay, so I've been a little bit involved. What was that? Yeah, you know what? I know I'm running into a few people who I know that I met back then. So after I interviewed Mr. Keshe, I was actually I take people on, some people travel with me, and it's really just because I travel and teach workshops, and people say, can I go to Peru with you? Can we go to Costa Rica and see the whales and the dolphins? So I take a handful of people along, and we stay in hostels, and we do things really simply, kind of the way I like to travel. But I was led to these scrolls in Peru that were downloaded from 1960 to 1978. And they were they're in Spanish. You can read about them online. There's a section on my website. You can find information about them. But they were literally a galactic download. They talk about flying spaceships, and that spaceships are vehicles of consciousness. I believe they were literally a transmission given to us for now because of what we're beginning to understand. The scrolls of Peru. And again, at 21stCenturySuperhuman.com, you can find, we're actually building out another site on them, but I have information there.
so I was supposed to do this interview with Mr. Keshe, and he was in Dubai, and I was in the United States, and we got our times a little mixed up, so I'm just sitting there waiting, going, well, he's not showing up. So I went into his website and started reading his books, and I thought, wow, this reminds me of the scrolls. It's kind of this galactic, information that's very, giving us some information that's very high level and helping us, begin perceiving things in a new way. And after I got done, and then my friend Kevin Blundell, who's in, I don't know, marketing or something with the Keshe Foundation, who had connected us, came back home because it was too cold to take his kids snowboarding, and he said, oh, you haven't gotten together, so he got us together, he did the interview. And after the interview with Mr. Keshe, I could literally not stay awake. And I say sometimes I get sucked out of my body, to get a download of information. Anybody else ever get that? Yeah. So I just went completely out, and it was all of a sudden I was sitting in this white room in a white chair with this whiteboard with formulas on it, and this ET was pointing to the formulas on the board. But over the board was flowing this wave of love, and it was flowing over me, and it was more intense and more beautiful than anything I'd ever felt in my life. And I knew that that's what this technology was about. I knew that that was where this is taking us. And so, as Dr. Rodrigo says, people think, oh, I'm going to get to build a power unit and reduce my gas mileage or reduce my electricity. And Mr. Keshe says, man will do this because he doesn't want to suffer. But the truth of it is, when we start getting this stuff in our field, we begin getting this life force that is vibrant and full and amazing. A lot of us don't eat much food anymore. We don't sleep a lot. There's an activation that's happening. And it's really fun to come to, I want to thank Heather for all the work she did to put this together, and to come to her and her partner's house. And they've got plasma everywhere. They've got GANS pads in the refrigerators, and they pour it on the roof, and it's in the bed you're sleeping in. And I don't even want to be any place anymore that doesn't have plasma fields in it. I mean, really, how many of you have this stuff in your homes and know? Yeah. Are you convincing your friends? Or do they think you're crazy? Okay, well, hopefully tonight you guys will get you'll get some rational answers that will help you share it with more people. Because this is a people-to-people movement. I mean, Mr. Keshe, there's a lot of things going on with this science around the world. I mean, this was presented at the White House a few weeks ago. The thing is, it's not somebody just figuring out the science in their garage so they can get knocked off and we can continue with the old system. It's all of us around the world going, I can learn how to do this. And as Dr. Rodrigo says, everybody in the world should have their own health unit. Not just me. I just don't want people coming to my house to do it. But he's a pioneer. He's figuring out the system and you guys are so lucky to have him in your community, to have Heather, all of you who are already doing this and taking steps. So let's ramp up this energy and take it the next step. Because you guys have the capability, especially in a community like this, to be a real vibrational leader on the planet. And the Keshes are asking us to do this because they know how powerful it is. So these are health pads that I think, I might have made these, but basically small amount of GANS put into sealed plastic packets, and we're going to be making these on Sunday and teaching you how to make them. Heather does this nice job of putting labels on them, and we put fabric in the health pads that tell us what kind of GANS is in there. And then you can just grab one and go, I need some food GANS today. Put this on my, and or my elbow hurts. I'm going to grab, CO2 GANS today. And how many of you are already doing this in your everyday lives? Rock on. Cool. How many of you that have food GANS made? Nice. How many of you are noticing a lot of changes in your lives? Good. That's awesome. All right, so this is the Mission I'm Possible Peru group. Is a group I've been involved with for a couple of years. Y'all know who J.C. Anderson is? J.C., the tech guy? He's a tech guy with the Keshe Foundation. He's really involved with MIP Peru. We've all known each other 3 or 4 years. And MIP Peru is about to become Keshe Manufacturing in Peru. And this guy had been going to the hospital for a year. His face was swollen, he was in terrible pain. And so Dave got a hold of him and said, here, take our health pads with you and take a jar of spray GANS water, plasma water. 1 week later, that's what this guy's face looked like. And the doctors who looked at it thought that it was cancerous. I don't know that he had an exact diagnosis on it. But he's getting better and better all the time. This is from about a month ago. His wife now comes in and cleans for them and brings all these people. And so, you know, it's seeing results. It's seeing these kind of results. It helps us realize. I mean, you know, in Peru, there's not quite as much pressure from the traditional medical system. So, and people aren't quite as ingrained. So when Dave says, here, take this health pad and put it on your knee that hurts or you can't walk or your leg is swollen, they go just take it and do it. And they come back the next day and they're all better and they're bringing their friends. So, you know, we've got to get beyond a lot of old belief systems that inhibit our moving forward. You know, yeah, I know about this. And what are you handing it to your friend and saying, hey, put this on there, you're going to feel better. So in Peru, they make these triple health pads. They're really cute with the red, white, and blue GANSs, and they call them the French flag health pads. And then you get to fold it whatever way you want. You know, you want the white on you fold it that way. If you want the blue on you fold it that way. So you can play with it and have fun. I think these are, Heather, are these your pictures? I've gathered pictures from everywhere, so anybody who's posting things online that's not too holy, you know, I just grab pictures and go, oh, this would be good in the slideshow. But this is some of Heather's working on her different patches, and she's going to be teaching us, she'll be in our discussion tonight, health balance patches and really good stuff, making amino acids and CO2 and fruit and veggie, and we'll learn more about that. So a food saver, sealer deal, you can use toilet paper, fabric, paper towel, handy wipes. I think in Peru they're using some kind of paper towel things that they can get at the grocery store that make their red, white, and blue fabric. And just your plastic roll that goes in here and being able to spray or spoon your GANS in there. So Whitney's little concept with many hands for peace, many hands for disaster relief. And these plasmatic first aid kits have been made and first aid information. We'll have these that we can hand out on Sunday. We hand these out in our workshops. A guy named Klaus made this really nice list up of how to use the GANSs for different health things. But the idea is if we have, I know you guys know about all this up here, if we have plate movement, if we have disasters happening on the planet, if we can walk in and we have food GANS, we have ways to, you know, heal. I cut myself on a utility knife a few weeks ago, and then a few days later on a piece of glass. Bleeding, you know, those kind of cuts that just like to bleed. And I just went and grabbed my spray bottle of plasma water, CO2 GANS water, sprayed them, and within 2 minutes, they'd stopped bleeding and they were completely healed. So are we doing this? Are we doing this every day and, you know, making use of it and having this experience ourselves? Because it'll change our lives. So we'll have these available on Sunday. Emotional tone scale that we can clear, magnetical emotions is kind of joy, love, expands, emanates, pushes away. Gravitational takes, contracts, draws inward, such as fear. So we can kind of start identifying our emotions as magnetic and gravitational fields. This is a nice little GANS making setup that captured concentrated gas. CuO copper, CH3 iron, CO2 zinc. These are the main GANSs that we use. We use salt water and a carbon rod or nano-coated copper, sometimes a little electricity, sometimes an LED light, and sounds like most of you. How many are already making their own GANS? Wow, that's like 2/3 of the people in the room. Are y'all making like the 3 main GANSs? What else are you making? Gold! Rock on, sister. Magnesium. Good. Anybody else? Monatomic gold, right? So there's a really nice CO2 zinc
GANs that I made, you know, knowing if you have a little altar or something you want to set it on to begin to permeate it with your, you know, your blessing energy. Look at the tube of light through the middle of this. This is a GANS we made up in Michigan a few weeks ago, a CO2 zinc, and kind of almost a spaceship energy up above it. So, you know, powerful stuff. They knew about GANs and plasma in ancient Egypt. And the sun has a lot to do with this, the right alchemy. This is Heather's nice little setup, and we'll have more of that on Sunday. These are just some of Heather's teaching tools for doing the CO2 GANs. And if you guys already know how to do this and you're doing it yourselves, contemplating teaching others is a really good thing. We're going to have a teachers meeting this Saturday. If anybody wants to come and join us and see yourself teaching this in the community at large. We're here just to, you know, encourage you to go further and to do more of what you're doing. So this is a little more of Heather's nice little setup. The nano-coated copper and the plain copper and zinc and iron. And then making the 3 GANSs. So this is a cup of life. How many have made a cup of life? Nice. So I just got this cup at the thrift store and drilled a hole in it, poured my CO2 GANS in it, CO2 zinc GANS, sealed it shut with a hot glue gun, and I keep that other cup inside of it, but I fill it up with tap water in Florida. And in the morning, you know, the water on top would taste really sweet and good and drop down in the bottom were all the precipitants that I didn't want to drink. So I never drink the bottom, you know, inch or two. You know, and you begin just playing with these things. Do it. I mean, this is what this picture that Heather has up here that's got, does it have GANS in the middle core?
No, it's plasma water that's charged.
Plasma water. Plasma water. Potentizing your water. This is food GANS. Has anybody seen my, there's 2 different ways of making food GANS. One, you can use caustic. Another way, you can use HCl and baking soda. I've done a couple of shows on that with Arvis and Letha, who do really beautiful food GANSs. These are some of theirs. But they'll smell and taste like the food itself. But just having this stuff in your field, putting it inside a health pen or a glass tube, you know, glass, whatever you call it, glass test tube, thank you. You know, and stirring your water with it and then drinking your water. You're going to get the food potentizing your water. So this is one of the shows. These are kind of what the covers look like, and that's a liquid plasma food show with Arvis and Letha. You can take your plasma water and add it to all kinds of things, homemade natural toothpaste, creams, foot baths, soap, laundry soap. I don't even put laundry soap in my wash anymore. I just dump GANS water in there. Anybody else doing that? Yeah, I did that at your house too. So these are ideas, you know, we're learning from each other as a global community. It's the reason I do shows. I just do shows to help us all learn from each other. So we're in kind of a school right now, and let's learn together. I really love this. I made a I just call it a mobile of peace, but it was a lamp in the house I was at in Florida, and put a couple balls with GANS water in them, and a couple of health pens or spirals, copper coils that are nano-coated, just to help amplify in that field. And then we have balls of GANS water hanging from the trees outside. So start doing this at your homes. Give your friends, you know, a mobile of peace for Christmas. Let them hang it up in their house. These are the kind of things that are going to, you know, just amplify the field here. We're starting to use a lot of the balls. Dr. Rodrigo brought some with him, but ping pong balls, other kinds of balls, putting GANS water in them, different balances of GANS waters, and then we can create these magnetic gravitational fields, potentially spin them, bring, you know, manifest gold, do space travel. So it's amazing, these simple things, but they're very powerful. And so we're starting to see ourselves move into, you know, a new kind of culture. I like to call these little bubbles plasmatic bubbles, and they seem to form wherever you have these GANSs. And they're like little energy packets. So that's more of just what that little Why plasmify? Alkalizes the pH of a liquid, preservative effect on anything it's used on, puts life back in dead water, used for environmental decontamination, makes your pet water bowl more healthy, emotional calm and stability. Energy and microbes are neutralized that are not needed, facilitates balance, homeostasis, health, levels emotional component of a disease, which is usually the underlying factor, so balance can be restored, more efficient use of food, activates more of the DNA, and tends to restore our original blueprint. Anybody make Organite? Make Organite with nano-coated wire? Are you doing that at this point? It'll really ramp it up. And we have people making Organite jewelry with nano-coated wire. I'm wearing the necklace on the left there and the bracelet, and those came from Mariana Gee, who I did a show with recently. They're making a bunch of really beautiful things. You know, everywhere I go in North America, people say, Carrie, where can we buy this stuff? You know, Americans don't want to have to work at it so hard. They want to just buy it. And so there's a lot of room to start Etsy stores. You know, come up with moves your own heart and start a little people-to-people sharing of plasma tools. You'll see a lot of really neat things here. This one on the right was made by a lady in the Netherlands. It's a necklace I have, and it has a nano-coated copper coil in it. And then these other ones have gold GANS, crushed amethyst and quartz, and a whole bunch of radionics frequencies. So there's a lot of, hopefully maybe with what you already do and what you already know and what you're already good at, maybe you'll get some ideas of some more things you can do. This is Mariana Gee with her herbal collection. We can add herbs to our GANs, and we can add it to our nano-coating. And we'll talk about that more on Sunday, but you can make amazing, you know, your nano-coated copper and your GANs will resonate the value of these things into your field as you surround yourselves with them in their nano state. So this is her gold GANs. She potentizes it with the IM presence a lot, so she gets kind of a red violet, a blue violet, and a yellow, and a white. This is some of her yellow gold GANs. I just thought these were great pictures, so I just threw them in here. This is their drinking water device. And they see, you know, this is what they're potentizing their GANs with to amplify the violet flame in the human field, the IM presence. They do a lot of work with their crushed stone before they add it. You know, prayers and meditations and radionics things. And she's right in Oregon. She's not too far away from you guys. So this is a water bottle they make. I'm carrying one with me. It's glass on the inside. It has the crushed stone on the outside, and you can put your own GANs into it. This is what the plasmatic field shows up as inside that water bottle. So if you freeze the water in there, they had to actually break a few of them to get these out so that they could see what they were like. And the bracelets, she had one of these bracelets she sent to a lady and a husband. The ladies turned completely yellow the first month. And at the end of that month, it started clearing. So this is that potent that it will pull toxins out of your body. And again, this is for activating the pineal gland. If we're activating the pineal gland. Yeah. Oh, yeah, but this just, they have gold GANs in this and the crushed stone and I don't know, their own little magic formula. Sorry about that. This is a gold skin cream, a gold GAN skin cream, which is really nice. And these are some, she just makes earrings and necklaces. I'd like to see them nano-coated, but just little copper coils, you know, turning them into things we can wear. I mean, how fun is that? A lot of nice ideas here. So she took this necklace that I have on and put it around the base of her fig tree. The fig tree bore fruit 2 months early. The figs are the size of avocados. And the figs taste fantastic. This is Jim and Lisa McDonald in Australia, who are good friends of ours. And this is what their tomato plants look like. They have an aquaponic system filled with liquid plasma, CO2, CH3, and C-GANs. And then they take those same waters and they do a foliar spray once a week. These plants are, you know, gigantic, and it's also the thickness of the stem. Look at the thickness of the stem there. Bearing amazing fruit.
Yeah, you guys have fantastic gardens around here. I mean, people always say to me, Carrie, where do you picture yourself living? And I came here and I was like, wow, the air smells really good here. Look at these beautiful little farmy homesteads. It's really a wonderful place. So you guys have a great place. Start plasmifying the whole place, you know. Spray your gardens with GANS water. Pour it on your plants. Make items out of it. Share them with your friends. Give them something fun to wear. You know, this is a great place to be doing that from. So many ways of nano-coating. We're not going to get into that today, but we'll get into it on the weekend. Nano-coating with fire, with caustic soda, and basically what you see, it's not the atoms, but you begin creating these nanoparticles that become like a coating. And so that's kind of what the nanoparticles look like. This is Vivek, who's another one of the tech guys with the Keshe Foundation, and he was doing nano-coating in an egg steamer. He lives in, you know, urban Singapore, in a little place with his parents. And so, you know, there's a lot of ways just by us sharing with each other around the world. So nano-coating copper plates. This is a lady named Luby. I did a really great show with her on natural nano-coating. If you don't want to use caustic soda, ash and seawater. She made this into a Merkaba shape, and she just goes out and dips it in the sea, dips it in her ash water, and then hangs it out in the wind and the sun and the rain. Takes a little bit longer, but it makes a beautiful nano-coating. So another thing the Keshe Foundation wants people to know is we can do this in any culture. You know, we had a guy from Egypt at our workshop 2 days ago, and he said, I don't think we can buy caustic soda over there. We don't, you know, why? So what would we do? Well, you know, put it in an iron skillet, put it on your stove, put it in your coals. You know, use the heat of any kind of stove that you're making or a fire, and then use the ash. So there's natural ways to do this, and we want to keep that in the loop of our learning, because we want to be able to. We as Americans have the ability to be teaching all over the world. There's people so hungry for this information. You know, the first guy, you all hear the first guy, the guy in Ghana who made one of the first MOGRAV units, and guess what he put his MOGRAV unit in? That's transmitting plasma energy. You think of it as electricity. He encased it in mud because that was the material that he had there. And plasma energy doesn't act like electricity. It will transmit through the mud. So we have the ability too to make, people are making little videos all over the world. You guys can make teaching videos. It doesn't have to be just people like me doing it. If you get a good process down for making gold GANs, make a video on it. We want to learn from you. You know, we're in this learning, sharing community. It's many hands for peace. We are here as a global family. We're here to teach each other and to learn together. I'm not just here to speak to you tonight. I want to give you a vision of how you can work together. And all of us who are going to come up here on the panel, the same. This was a really fun experiment that Whitney did. We were in a little town in Montana, and this is a sapphire mining thing. People come in and pan for sapphires. So there's mud constantly circulating through this tank. And so she set up a series of jars, put nano-coated copper in some of them, nano-coated copper in a plastic bag in some, CuO2 in another GANS. And the one that worked the best was that third one from the left, and it had nano-coated copper bits just dropped into the water, and it just precipitated all of the material out of the water. So we're talking about disaster relief. We're talking about being able to make clean water. We're talking about being able to clean up. I mean, every time we drive by Butte, Montana, Whitney would be like, I want to clean up that copper mine. You know, they've got a giant lake that's full of the residue from the copper mine. This stuff can give us the ability to clean up our world like this. This is like, for years I've been saying, when are the ETs going to come and just show us how to get ourselves out of this pit we dug ourselves into? Well, this is it. It's here. So take your skill, your talent, your ability, and start playing with it. And, you know, we want to see you guys get together as a community and share with each other. Maybe meet once a month. Have a meeting once a month at somebody's home or some public building and teach each other what you're learning. Have a Facebook site. Keep the communication going. So, Simple Health Pen, how many have already made their own health pens? A lot of you, wow. We got to Montana with Whitney and Carolyn DeAngelis, and they said, wow, we watched your health pen video with JC so many times. We'd stop it and back it up and learn. And it was so much fun to hear, somebody learn from something that we just did as a teaching tool. Carry those health pens around. I mean, I sleep with mine. They're in my vehicle. They're never very far away from me. All right, so Simple Health Pen is a core, good, nice, and an old pen, very nice.
Amber and amethyst.
Amethyst, good, very cool, awesome, rock on. So we have a pin down the middle, and then we have 2 copper coils. And then we nano-coat it. These are some really beautiful pens. I did a show with these guys. It's Sybil, Adora, Udima, and Martin. They wind all these by hand in the Netherlands. They have an Etsy store and make these really beautiful pens. Any of you can make them. It's not that it's rocket science. It's just getting out of our little boxes and doing it. And it's one reason we're having fun teaching these workshops, because we get to be like a bunch of kids actually putting this into practice. These are just really beautiful shots this guy did, these pens. So this is JC and a wooden, holder for the health pen. We don't hold them with our hands because then we're getting our body material on it and we're kind of interrupting the plasma flow. So I want you guys to get an idea of how these work. You're not going to learn everything here today. This is like an overview, but we will be doing little little workshops and hands-on at the Expo over the weekend. And we want you guys to come and bring your friends and learn how to do these things so you're really good at it and we can answer all your questions. So this is a health pen that was made from those beautiful ones you just saw, poured into resin in a glass tube with a bunch of really nice crushed stone and all these different things that Sybil sent me. And then this is I just tied it in my freezer, pointing down, and put the cup of water under it. And you can see the plasma ball that formed in that cup of water. So I want you guys to see this ice gives you really a visible look. People put food coloring in these so you can see what does the plasmatic field make in the ice, and it's amazing. So right here on the right we have one little copper wire, nano-coated. One little copper wire with the top bent over so all the energy is pointing down. Watch the plasmatic field that makes. And remember that one of these is going to go through the middle of your pen. Pretty amazing, huh? There's food coloring in there. That's what that single copper wire is making. The proof, make your own pens. Put them in your freezer. Put some water underneath them. You don't even have to put food coloring in it. But look and see what you're doing. Measure it. See the power of what you're creating. It's fantastic. We went backwards. So we've got the little plasmatic packets forming in the little ice, the little drops of water. Here's another one. Very, very simple, nice dark nano-coating on that. They just got it in an old plastic juice bottle or something. This is Tom Salas he was down in Mexico. He calls this a health cannon. So basically you've got the 2 copper coils, nano-coated. They're kind of large in a glass test tube, and he said his water tasted really terrible. Put this in a glass of water just like I did with mine overnight, and the next morning you've got sweet alkaline water. The precipitates drop down to the bottom so you don't drink that bottom part. This is simple stuff, you guys. And if you add CuO, CuO2 to your test tube, you're going to help kill off the bacteria if you're dealing with that as an issue. So there's finer tuning of this and more to learn. But we talk about being able to walk into a disaster area and making water that's drinkable. I mean, this is big stuff. Learn how to do it now. Don't wait until it's too late. Mrs. Keshe started sending me these. I think Tom Salas made these. I'm not sure. Do you have any idea, Rodrigo? I don't know who made these, but as I got on the road, she said, Mr. Keshe says, take these out and show these pictures to people. But this is kind of like the picture. Where'd you get that picture, Heather? Safeway. So these pictures are available with the tube in the middle. You can put your plasma water in there, put a nano-coated copper coil, make your own water purifying pitcher, put your GANS water in there, give yourself something alive to drink. It's going to make you just have such a zest for life you won't want to stop. We want you to be superhumans. So these are wonderful nano-coated copper spirals. You can also make triskelions, but this is You can see the plasmatic field that that's making. Health units around the world, I don't even know where all these came from. I just kind of grabbed them, you know, online. And they're basically different units that have been being built. You guys have one right here. So how many of you have been in Dr. Rodrigo's health unit? Nice, cool, lucky people. When people heard we were coming here, they were like, oh, we want to go with you. It's cute. So, because they wanted to come and get in the health unit. But we want to inspire people to build their own. And that's one of the things we talked about today that's so important. But an 11-year-old dog with a golf ball-sized tumor, 2 golf ball-sized tumors, you know, 1 week of being in one of these units, and they had shrunk down to the size of a pea. So this is, you know, we're dealing with future science here. Let's not think things are stuck in the old 3D way. We've got to get ourselves out of that. So they have these different helmets that have been made. These guys think this is really fun and feels good. So just to give you an idea, and many hands for peace, restoring vitality to our world. Restore vitality to ourselves. And let's radiate this out to the world. Free energy in exchange for world peace. Mira and Keshe. The KesheFoundation.org is where you find this material. You can download blueprints. There's all kinds of there's all kinds of material at that website, from testimonials to, you know, links to being able to volunteer, all kinds of good stuff. KesheFoundation.org. Different electrical devices. One of the really neat things about how these power units have been created, they're a bridge from our old system. So right now, we're learning ABCs by making copper coils, putting them inside of each other, connecting them a certain way, nano-coating them, and putting these units in our houses. And we're creating a plasmatic field. We're ramping up our own ability to be healthy. And then we can also activate that within the power system in our house and start reducing our electrical bill. So it isn't necessarily instant, but it's a gradual process. It will plasmify our house. It'll help our other wires in the house will become nano-coated as a result of having these things in there. But it means we can use, you know, the Magrav power unit looks like that thing down in the lower left. And then we can run everything that we're used to running. Somebody didn't come along and say, okay, we've got a new power system, get rid of everything you have and start over. The brilliance of this is, it's a little ABC thing any of us can do anywhere. This is why we're teaching these workshops. We're going to make them available online as soon as we can as well, because we want you guys to go through these simple steps and make your own units. Begin augmenting your own home. It's an amazing transitional system that lets us learn how to harness plasma energy, reduce our power bills, and still run everything that we're used to running. I mean, how cool is that? In Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, we had a really big workshop, and a bunch of people there lived off-grid. Somebody told us there, if you want to go off-grid, you have to pay the power company $100 a month. How evil is that? I mean, it's just like, really? You know, and another guy, he reduced his power bill, what, 30%? And the power company said to him, came to his door, knocked on his door and said, were you gone on vacation? You know, so it's an interesting thing. I mean, I know we're in the United States, they're trying to get a manufacturing plant going, but there's a lot of hoops they have to jump through. So it's not just easy. You can't just start a Keshe manufacturing plant in the United States. They've got to jump through. What do they have to jump through? They have to qualify with the standards of who knows what. But meanwhile, we can do this people to people. This is why we're out teaching. This is why we're sharing this information with you, because you can do it at home. You don't have to go out and buy it. I pulled this off online, I don't know, 6 or 8 months ago, and this was a guy in Europe who got 1,292 kilometers on one tank of fuel. It's a lot. And I'm not sure what kind of car it was, but anyway. This was my Magrav unit, my car unit that's in my van right now, and this was us nano-coating it. Whitney made these coils, which was great, and then we nano-coated it on this little register at this cabin in Montana. You know, just, it's easy, you guys. It really is. So I encourage you. We want to see you all make your own car units. Make your own house units. Have 3 or 4 MOGRAV units in your houses. It's just getting out of our little, how many people have a MOGRAV unit in their house that they made? You bought it? You have one? Cool. So you could make another one and stack it with that, and you'd get more out of it. And you'd get more good energy for yourself out of it. You can even do 3, you know, build a couple. How about you? Did you buy one?
Maybe.
The lady back behind you.
No, I built 2.
You built 2. Rock on, girl. That's awesome. And you have them plugged in and everything?
Well, one was called split capacitors.
Uh-huh.
It worked, and then it shorted out.
Okay.
And it's not like capacitors, it's split capacitors. I just put it in my closet, unplugged.
Cool.
But an old clock in there that I've had for years started ticking.
Wow.
So it's not plugged in, but I've obviously got power, so I still have to go back and find where that short is.
And that is really a cool story. And maybe you can visit with Whitney while you're here, while we're here, and maybe on Sunday or Monday, and let's help you work out some, you know, little better understanding of what you have. Okay? Who else has a MOGRAV unit in their house? Yeah?
Well, I don't have one in my house because I'm traveling
Right.
in a van right now. So
Right.
that's fine. But we made, with a friend of mine down in the farm, we made, there are actually 3 of us on the team, we made 9 of these units.
Wow. Nice.
And 8 of them were the 3 stackers, and then 1 is that experimental one.
Yeah, I know this experimental one up here is
Of
yours,
the
right? Nice.
self-generator. But he was just reporting all kinds of beautiful stuff going on around the field, plasma
Nice.
field around his property.
Nice.
Phenomenal.
Nice.
And his
Anybody
bills are
else?
starting to go down.
Cool. Anybody else?
One more thing on that.
Sure.
One of the guys took, put the units into a 5-gallon bucket and put a 4-plex outlet on it and took it out to his construction site. Jose is his name, and he'd take it out there because a lot of times you're blowing breakers and whatnot. So he would take this unit, he would plug it into the main panel, and then they would load up those 4 boxes with all kinds of other stuff and wouldn't have any problems.
Nice.
And yeah, and the guys in the field are amazed, everybody wants his bucket.
Awesome. Very cool. Did somebody else have a story?
Well, I just have a mag grab for my car,
Great.
but when I'm not in my car, I keep it in my house.
Uh-huh.
So that the field, I get some of that field in my
Good
house.
girl. Awesome. And you can, so we encourage you, not only, you know, build your own units, have more units, you know, multiply them. Let's get this field going here. So we'll just zip through some of these really fast. I put my coils over these cups in the freezer to see what kind of plasmatic field they were producing. And these are the 2 plasmatic fields in these 2 cups of water. Interestingly enough, I froze water in those cups again the next day without the coils on them, and the plasmatic field was still there, and I got almost a similar pattern. So, you know, once we begin activating this stuff, this energetic pattern, we have it to draw upon. It's really, really important. This is the first coil I made. Anybody can make a coil. And this is a lady building her car unit. Just zip through these really fast. These are some of the pieces. We do a lot of this in our workshops, kind of take you through these steps. And this is a car unit going into a end. This is Jackie out in California, and she built this down at MIP Peru. We did a show with her. And they make these glasses down in Peru, and they're kind of just fun and funny. Everybody wears them to get their eyes working better. Yeah. Yeah, it's working. Yeah, they're all getting a lot of benefit from them. So just different processes of the coils, the ends coming out, what it takes to hook them together. You can download schematics from the Keshe Foundation. This is a really nice schematic that Whitney developed that we use with our classes. How they're configured, again, all this stuff's available from the Keshe Foundation and downloadable in some of our work as well. You know, these coils each are, you've got 1 coil inside the smaller one and another coil inside the bigger one. So you've literally got 4 coils there, for those who don't know, not just 2. And you've got all the ends coming out, they wrap around again. So one of the wires wraps around again through the coils. Remember the one wire we saw, just the plain wire nano-coated, and the big plasmatic field it made. So every time we have a coil or a line running through it, we're alternating gravitational magnetic fields. And every time we do that, we're ramping up the power we're bringing. These are just shows where we're connecting coils, discussion, and tips, and making coils. These are a couple guys in Saskatchewan, Canada. They do a really great job, very technical. And this is, Whitney made 80 coils last winter, gave a lot of them away as health devices for people. So lots of details in putting this together. That's what we're traveling and teaching, and we hope to transmit a lot of to you guys this coming weekend so that you can be making your own stuff. The coils get dipped in GANSes, alternating GANSes. Some of them have sugar in them. We have all these different little tricky things that we do to just set up alternating magnetic gravitational fields. This is Dave in Peru. And this is them making a car unit. What their car unit looks like as they're developing. This is 3 car units being made. And those each has a little central sun in the middle of it. That's what these are called. The GANS itself is like thousands and millions of central suns that are emanating this energy. And so it goes into those little tubes and gets glued in there to help send this pulsing energy through the coils. That's a little tray thing somebody found to build put the monograv unit in. Just to zip through these, this is the mixture of the 3 GANSes used to coat to go in the central sun. Sometimes used to coat the coils, although we're kind of moving to separating the GANSes to coat the coils. Little capacitors that help ease how the flow happens of the plasmatic energy. This is a monograv unit. It's all put together before nano-coating so that the nano-coating doesn't get messed up. And then it's nano-coated and turned black like this, and then it'll get set into a nice unit. This is Liliana, who's a really nice young girl in her 20s who's in Peru. A lot of these young people are coming in and working with the group down there. And this is how they set these into a little stacker to hold it. So there's a car unit and a monograv unit, or a house unit. There's your local buddy there with his health unit behind him. I always have him in my show. It's kind of funny. I just pulled these pictures offline, and it's like, so I happen to be here. It's really great. This is something somebody else built locally. Does anybody know the person that built this? Yes? Is that your husband or friend?
No, just a friend.
And have you been inside of that, or?
No, but he's hoping to bring it to the workshop on Sunday or Monday.
Yeah, the Expo. He's hoping to bring it so he can demonstrate. And it's kind of a health unit he's built with his own idea of what this is. It'll be interesting. This is a new Triad unit that's been coming out lately. So it's just small coils, nano-coated, put together in a certain way, wired together in a certain way, and it can even help feed more energy into your regular monograv unit. Schematics on how to wire them. We're now spinning these ping pong balls with plasma in them, and in order to manifest physical matter, fly, whatever we want to do. Many answer piece. We have a wonderful young guy who's about 30 who has muscular dystrophy, who can't even use his body. Arms, legs, speech. And he has a little thing he can use with his finger. And he's done a ton of work. ManyHandsForPeace.org is Whitney's site. He's been building that for her. He has a lot of plasma devices around him. So we have just this great community who are working together, who love each other. We're doing everything we can to support each other, to be well, to spread this knowledge. This is Douglas, who's one of the science guys who works with Mr. Keshe kind of at home. But he's been working on a freestanding hybrid free energy unit. And this little yellow box was called the Yellow Submarine, and they just revealed a while back, supposedly, the unit was under there, but they finally picked it up and showed us there was nothing under there. So we have a freestanding plasmatic device. It demonstrated they could turn on 5,700 watts at one time. And anybody who knows a lot about electricity knows that would kind of melt just regular small electrical wires. So it's an amazing amount of power to be running through something. And this was demonstrated at the Sarah McClendon room at the White House. That's Armand on the left, who's kind of the head of the Keshe Foundation, another one of the science guys. And on the right, in the blue shirt in the back, is a guy who was like a major general in the Army, and he finally, Mr. Keshe was on audio with these guys, and he stood up and he said, I want you to teach me how to do, I want to learn how to do that. And Mr. Keshe came out and said, he will teach you how to do it. He won't do it for you. And so we'll let him stay there. So I'm not sure where that went with the military, but we're at this brink where this stuff is just starting to break through. A lot of people out working on the front lines to bring it out to the world at large. So we replicate the same technology as the universe. The plasma healing pens to stop pain, health pads, health pens, creating nutrition to feed the hungry, the MAGRAV power unit, improving our transportation. See, the car is like actually floating. And then space travel. We're in one planet for peace on Earth. And Mr. Keshe says, man has been fighting so long, he has forgotten peace is so easy. Use this new technology to bring peace. So let's just take a little break, and we're going to get our panel up on the stage here, and we'll take maybe 5-7 minutes, run to the restroom if you need to, and then we'll get the panel up here and have visit about, share some more things.
Who brought an apple to the teacher. Who brought a health pen and 3 health pads. How cool is that? Woo! Thank you, Bruce. And what I want to say is Bruce was up here sharing with me. Will you hold that device up? You guys are a community of intelligence together. Just, Bruce, can you come up and just use the mic here and explain what that is? Like, look, this is what happens when we teach a workshop. All these people start speaking up in the workshop that have all kinds of skills, And it's like, there's this guy sitting in the back. What's your name in the plaid shirt again? Steve. Steve builds, he's like a cabinet maker guy and mechanic, and he builds like stackers to put these things in. I mean, you guys have a team of people here who can get together and do this. It's really easy to go home and say, I can't do this because I don't know how to do 3/4 of the things. But if you all get together as a team, and what I want him to share, Bruce, what he was just sharing with me, because these are the kind of people that show up in our workshops. We have electricians and we have, people that understand all kinds of sciences, and none of us need to do it alone or can do it alone. So just do a really quick 60-second description of what this is. I don't even understand how to use it. He explained the whole thing to me. I don't want to understand. I don't need to understand. But he will help me put this together as I work with him on a team. It's just over my head, and it probably will always be over my head. But it's really useful. So go ahead and share, Bruce.
I'll see if I can explain it. Dr. Keshe, or Mr. Keshe, mentioned that to use electricity, about 1 volt, to making the GANS. And to do that, he said, use a battery or a LED light, or you can use a controller. So it's 110 volt AC to then DC, and they're costing about $60, $70 a piece. And I looked on the web. This little controller is a DC to DC controller. Put DC in one side. It's got 2 buttons which raise or lower the voltage to what you want, and I load it to about 0.95 volts. $6 delivered from China.
Wow. So if you guys get together and make GANS together as a group and help each other with what you've learned, you're going to become more knowledgeable as a group. So thank you so much for sharing that.
Okay, either on eBay, Amazon, or just Google it, then you'll find them there. $6, $7, with a little plastic cover for it.
Tell us what it's called again.
It's a DC to DC controller.
So those of you who are really science-minded, thank you so much.
Is that Delta Charlie to Delta Charlie?
Yes. Direct current.
Is that Delta Charlie to Delta Charlie? So what I really want you guys to get, and Whitney and I saw this everywhere we went, right, Whitney? You want to share a little bit about how amazing it was, the skills that we see coming together as we teach these workshops?
Every single group that has come together is perfect. Really. We have men that are electricians. I'm not just singling out men, but it seems to be that the groups that are coming together are naturally have all the skills necessary if you just rely on the whole group. And so there's one guy that knows all the electronics and where you can get wire, and one person that might know where you can get all of different parts for the GANS. So,
Yeah,
and
it's amazing.
this is the other thing. A lot of people are afraid because they say, well, gosh, I have rheumatoid arthritis. I can't use my hands. Well, there's roles in the group where people can jump in and make their coils for them, but they could do something else for the group. That's why we say, bring cookies.
Yeah.
You know, the whole entire group, no matter what is going on, someone can play a role in it and contribute back to each other. So that's the really beauty of what's going on, and we're having fun as adults, doing something different and something we know is going to make a difference to everybody on Earth. So that's there's no limitations on if I have the capabilities or skills. Maybe there's someone who's really good at infusing intent into coils, or someone who can hold vibration really well, and while they're winding coils, you know, they're adding the intent to those coils as they heat up as you're turning them. So there's something for everyone in everything that we're doing.
So I love traveling with Whitney. We don't even really know how we stumbled into deciding to do this tour together, but we did. And she's kind of a really good technical whiz kid. She's got amazing things inside of her head, and we really balance each other out. There's a lot of things, knowledge that she has. So while you're here tonight or this coming weekend, Sunday and Monday, Heather, can you use the mic and tell us when the workshop or the expo is, Sunday and Monday? That would be really helpful. I've had people asking.
There we go. So yeah, we do have a announcement out there on the table, and it gives the details, and yes, it's kind of confusing, I admit, but I tried to make a nice little pattern out of it. Our intent was to give a couple of different price options to where people that are, you know, maybe just barely heard about Keshe technology and they're not really sure. So there's a couple of price options, you know, someone that's just kind of wanting to walk through and kind of look at the tables and listen and just pick up on information. So that's like $11, I think, I don't have it in front of me, where they could just kind of walk through and just kind of experience the room, you know. And it's not like, you know, they won't be making something at each table. Like the next level of the ticket is like the do-it-yourself experience of plasma, where you can stop at each table, make a pin, make a patch, make a plasma art type of thing, experience Dr. Rodrigo's various contraptions that he's got that are portable, you know, that you can put your knee in it, you can put your ankle in it. We'll have a massage table laid out with plasma patches on it, and have a session, you know, with some nano pins and talk about what kind of health things you might want to play with those. So there's a couple different levels, and the schedule, I'll do real quick, is just Sunday morning will be, you know, the slideshow intro. So just so you know, that's the morning part, and then the afternoon is the tables around the room, and that's over at the Lions Club, and there'll be like 8 tables around the room, and you go from one table to the other. The morning is at 9:30. The door opens at 9, and then we're going to have a lunch break from, I think I put it from 12 to 1:30 to give us time to set up the tables. And then it's from 1:30 till, somebody read it off of there, what did I put? 8? Yeah, I wanted to, you know, like an extended day because people aren't going to be there all day. Maybe they can come and go. And then on Monday will be an actual workshop where you can bring whatever you're working on, get some advice and some input on what your next step might be. We'll be winding coils and making things that day.
And what hours is that on Monday?
1 to 8.
Thank you. 1 to 8. I didn't bring the paper up here with me. I wanted to make it a little in the afternoon, evening for people that work and things like that. They still have a chance to get there and have some hands-on work with some things.
Whitney and I have been traveling and teaching, 12 hours of workshop, and we've been doing it on donation. The way that we're charging for everything, we wouldn't want anybody to not come because of money. We want you guys to come, and we are asking for donations so we can just keep all of this going. And bring your friends. See if you can introduce some new people to this besides all of you who are, and thank you, Heather, so much for really doing all the work you've done to put this together. It's really an exciting thing to have here. I mean, we've been teaching workshops all across the country now, and doors opened up in Vancouver Island. We just came back from those places. So it's really a neat thing to have this here, a lot of skills available, and let's help you guys get this stuff out of the block so you feel like you can go home and you can actually do it. So Whitney, would you like to tell us a little bit about how you founded Many Hands for Peace and what that means?
Yeah, back in April, there was a group of awesome women who just kind of synchronistically came together. And that was with Heather and Yasmin, who's going to be here on for the weekend, and a whole handful of women. And we kind of called ourselves the goddesses of GANS.
We didn't call it,
She did. She invented that name. But really it was our souls. They're calling us to this urgency that this knowledge has to get out. We really see it as a tool for peace. And I know we all feel it. You know, we can't just have a world that's, half in peace. We really want the whole world to be able to be without lack. And because it's that lack that drives a lot of these acts of unkindness. And so this is a tool for us to create a world that doesn't have to go hungry. We might choose to eat, but if you can receive all of your nutrients energetically without actually eating, then you might find something else to do.
It is pretty amazing.
It is pretty amazing, and we're looking at, this is really the future right now. So we could be opening up. We don't even know what we'll be like in 10 years as a collective on this earth. We might start discovering new things to be, have fun at. So there's ending world hunger, ending the worry about having to cover yourself from the elements. That all this stuff is space age, they say, but it's here right now with this technology, wireless electronics, things. That's even been already shown. How you can send your energy, the plasma energy, wirelessly around the home. Wireless, your cars being able to levitate. We've been making these car units. We just put one on Carrie's unit, and we put some hair in it. Because if you put a little bit of the hair of the owner of the car, or whoever's going to drive the car, you'll have a way to control it once it takes off. There's a whole new way of thinking, a whole different way, and we're learning how to do this in our kitchens. In fact, I dated someone this spring, and he broke up with me and said, "You can't change the world with stuff you make in your oven." Okay, well, I'm doing what you're doing, but I'm going to do this because it's important. It's just important what we're all doing in this room. And then how we're spreading this out to everyone. Who knows where it's going to take us? But we already feel the effects. I don't have to eat as much. I'm not very hungry. In fact, when I get hungry, I love to eat. I eat a lot of pizza at lunch at that great restaurant right down there. Oh, that way. And I love it. But there's not this gnawing hunger. And, we're looking at how do we get out of this system, right? Well, we release what it controls in us. And if it were controlled through our hunger, through our lack, through the fact we don't have money, and that's what Carrie and I are doing on this trip. We have not worried about money. And we have gone down to zero, and we've gone up a couple hundred, gone down, but whatever it is, it doesn't matter. The universe is provided because it's important what we're doing. And so we're relying on that. We're starting to live in a more heart-centered way. So the group of ladies, to get back to your question, that came together, we just really all felt, and there's some gals in Australia, and they've already held workshops in Australia. We just know that this has to get out. And what we want to do is put together a structure and format that anybody in any town in the world can go on and they can say, okay, I need to teach a Nano-Coating class. How do I do it? Bam, here's a list of resources for me to do that in. In fact, we are even keeping track of what kind of tables we set up at these events. Heather just put together a great list of how the tables are going to flow. Well, that's going to benefit someone else. And we can make it easier for other people because it's taken a year of us wrapping our heads around this, and everybody that's done that, we've had to really stretch to figure out. I had to write a manual. I wrote a manual in December, and it never really was finished, but I had to write it just to get my head around it. So all of that work that we did, we're really thankful. And there's been a couple people that come up and told me tonight, thank you for your videos. Wow, I'm just a girl from Montana. And I just want to help. So if there was something that I did that helped people, that's great. And then everybody sharing their information. Get on this Golden Age of GANS Facebook site and post your pictures, just whatever they are, post it. Gunter has to post his, he's wearing his supplements and his heart medication, right? Right around his neck in the form of GANS. Yeah. Gunter, will you come up here and can you tell his story? Do you mind telling your story? Yeah, just what you're wearing and.
Oh yes, that's right. It's a long story because
Just do it short. Tell them quick.
Okay, so I heard the story that
Hold the mic up there.
I heard the story that Dr. Rodrigo was telling about medications in a new form. We do that once with caustic, give it a caustic bath after we we have grinded it first and then give it a caustic bath, and that's what I did because I wanted to check out. I don't want to have to pay for medication and support the system. And so that's what I did. And then I put it here in a tube with some kind of drops or whatever. And I got that tip, credit to Gina down there. And so I did that with the medication. And the story is that I am getting down and down, using less and less my my blood pressure medication.
Nice.
Yes, and so I also heard, I heard the rumor that I can do that. We can do that also with supplements. And I have a bunch of supplements. I grinded it all together. And I did the same thing. And I heard that my body is taking from that energy, from that frequency specific supplement, what it needs. Yeah. And yeah, I did it. I didn't even finish that right. And actually, I duct taped it to my t-shirt. But then I found this kind of string, because sometimes it happens that I am changing my t-shirt. So. And here that black thing is just duct tape. I duct taped that to the string. So yeah, it's a great thing. If you are using medication, just check it out. And I am always doing my checking the blood pressure to make sure that there is more achievement.
Awesome. I think he's down to every 4 days now on his medication. So that's happening already. What we're talking about, the space age, is right here in Yelm. You know? And so that's a concept between Many Hands for Peace. It's just people getting together and helping people, and it has nothing to do with money, has nothing to do with engaging in a charity organization. It is literally just knowledge that we know that needs to get out to everybody in a usable format. So this is a manifestation of our co-creation right here, and it's fantastic. It's just rolling that way. So.
Yeah, thank you so much, Whitney. And it's just, yeah. As much as we invite you guys to become a community of Many Hands for Peace and work together on these things, we are experiencing this among ourselves as well. And the things just flow. It's just like, my heart is so touched to just see the talent and the ability that each person expresses, the way they express it, and how they bring it forward. Heather, for instance, Heather Bryant, who's one of your community here, just went to Arizona and taught a GANS workshop. And Heather, if you would share a little bit. Heather is one of these people who does everything in these really neat little details. And, you know, the first thing she did, she has a special group that was testing out different GANSs, and you can tell us about that, the Autism Avatars group. And so the first thing she did, we did several shows together a long time ago, and she sent me a bag of her GANS patches, and they were all labeled perfectly, and pinking shears cutting the edges of them, and it's just, you know, I mean, I'm sort of like, I just fly through things and kind of do it fast, but Heather has this way of putting things together in detail, and she's made a whole lot of different formulas to help us make our health pads better and our GANs better. And I just want to say, even we, as you know, who are the people out teaching it and traveling, as we come together as a group, there's so much that's contributed, and we are many hands for peace. We're here together, and we don't all do the same thing. We don't all have the same talents and abilities, but we're here to serve the greater good, and we want to invite you guys to do the same, and it's just a privilege and an honor to be here. So Heather, just share with us some of your magic of how you put these things together and what you've been doing, and what happened in Arizona as well. What happened in Arizona? Stays in Arizona.
Well, just briefly, I'm a physical therapist by training, but turned plasmacist, I suppose you would call it, in this last year. And so because of that, then it's basically the health part of this technology that's really grabbed my attention, because I can see so much potential in this changing so much that's ready to change and needs to change. But if I put it too close, it sounds weird.
No, that's
okay. Is that better? Oh, you want me to sound weird? Okay. Okay. So we kind of geared most of our time and attention towards creating the plasma patches, and so I always, every time I come up with an instruction sheet or kind of a process on how to do something, luckily Linda's pretty good with the little video phone, and we'll make a video and then we post it on YouTube, and then we usually follow it up with a 1 or 2 page like PDF instruction sheet, because to me that's a really important part of this, is being a bridge from the many hours and hours and hours and hours of information, and giving people something that they can kind of look at, 2 or 3 minute video and some instructions, and say, hey, I can go reproduce this, or I can play with it. So that's something that I hope to help with. And then, so yes, we did a class, just a 1-day class in plasma nanotechnology about a week ago, in Arizona. It was after a weekend retreat with a group that we've been with for many, many years. And they've been loving our patches and playing with them since March, I suppose. We just took some of the patches with us to one of the retreats that we were going to and just started sharing the information, and it just so resonated with everybody. And, most of them are quite, I would say, multidimensionally aware beings, and they can feel things, feel the energies, and they were just enjoying them, loving them, wanting to play with them. So we started creating these little patch kits, those, send them so that they would have one of each of them to play with. Like Vanna, here, you be Vanna. And so we were going to send out 10 of them to the families to start working with, and then 10 turned into 20, and that turned into 50, and that's, I think, up to about 100 now. Families that are working with the technology and giving us feedback. So we just send them to them and say, our reimbursement, if there is any, is just to give us some input on what you're finding they're useful for and what they're doing. So I'm compiling that information, and we've got a lot of really great feedback. Most of the families have kids that are on the autistic spectrum, and so they're very aware beings to begin with. And we're getting ready to do a couple of some actual studies with the, especially the ones that.
Kids like the
GANS? They tend to love the ocean GANS even more than some of the others. I think it's maybe grounding for them, kind of brings them in a little bit more. Some of them will tell their parents, to use either that in their bath water, and some of them don't really want the patches on them, but they would tell their mom to go ahead and rub it around their pillow in their bed, and then they can, maybe sleep a little bit better at night, communicate a little bit better with them. Sometimes they'll just, grab a patch and run off with it and put it on their shoulder or whatever it is, One of the young men that doesn't really like energy work or anything else like that, that his mom has done, he did that. He grabbed one, ran off with it, and it helps his muscular issues. So we're getting a lot of real specific feedback, and I'm putting that together. And so in Arizona, we were doing a class for them, basically to teach them the technology. Some of them have actually started making GANS. They've started making their own patches and giving them to their friends, and they wanted to know a little bit more. So we did the one-day clinic there. And nice thing, number 2, was it just happened to be, I found out later, in the same town where the Keshe manufacturing is started down there. So one thing led to another, and we got in touch with John and had a nice tour of the facility, got to see what they were creating there. They're starting to put together all the different parts and processes for the magravs, and tour around their GANS room, which was awesome. And also some of those experiments that we're seeing on these last Knowledge Seeker workshops, where they're putting like 6 magravs in the middle and 12 around the outside. They got some pretty interesting things going on there. So, and that was great. And then John and David from the manufacturing there, they came and they participated in the class. So they helped us with the workshop, and then they wound it up at the end and telling us, a little more about the council. And David has a lot to do with the agriculture research that they're doing kind of back and forth across the border there. So it was beautiful. Yeah.
I just want to thank you, Heather. I don't really know if you realize you are probably the premier person on earth doing this pain patch tech. You are. We're on tabs with a lot of Facebook groups where everybody's posting their results and everything. And Heather, right here in this community, is making impact for peace on earth in a very big way. All of this research matters. It matters to everybody. And so thank you.
Awesome. Heather, can you tell us any other little tidbits about the manufacturing plant down there? I think one of the things is we're having to meet a lot of standards in the United States, so they're developing the manufacturing, but haven't quite sprung it forward yet.
Right. It seemed to me that they're trying to pull together all the different parts of what would be manufacturing, right? They've got to get the hosel, the plastic parts correct where they can be put together. They're developing more efficient ways of nano-coating, which they shared with us, and I'll give you guys the slide on that, and we'll print that out for this weekend. They've got a very different way they're doing the capacitors than what I've seen before, and I asked John for information on that. He said that they're working up the schematic for that, and they'll get it out to everybody real soon what they're using. What else can I say about there? Is there anything else, Linda, that I missed about what they've got going on there?
Some of the stuff you weren't supposed to talk about.
Oh, right, and that. I wasn't going to mention that part. No, they're actually very open. I was really surprised that open-hearted people, of course, to begin with, but I think that they're just trying to establish a way to create the units here so that they don't need to be purchased out of Italy. And yeah, they're well on their way, but work in progress.
Awesome. Thank you, Heather. And I encourage everyone to come and meet Heather on the weekend, Sunday and Monday, and hang out with all of us, kind of get to know what each person is doing so you know the resources you have here in your community. And we do have a gentleman here, Jack, is that correct? Who's distributor for the Keshe Foundation and living with a little bit of frustration because he hasn't been able to actually get everything he'd like to get. And just to know that we're in the middle of, the birthing of something really new, and and we're also breaking through, moving beyond some old industries that have been controlling our world for a long time, right? Would you like to share anything, Jack, with us as a group, or?
Well, I think Heather already mentioned what's going on.
You want to come up and talk in the mic a minute?
come on and just give us a few of your words of wisdom. What brought you into this?
Well, what brought me into this is years ago when I was listening to Keshe streamings, and I found something attracted me, and I was talking with Rodrigo, and he also started doing the same thing, and then I forgot. Then I came back sometime early this year, and then I saw that there were distributors, and I said, okay, why don't I participate in expanding the knowledge from my perspective? Because my background is in transportation, and I wanted to share that along with them. And I have offered my services free of charge for them as well. But I'm not in Italy, so it's not easy. It's a bit different there. And so I started, helping some people, getting some products. And right now, the most important thing is that the Arizona manufacturing starts rolling out, because that's where we would know exactly what the shipping costs would be, what the price would be, and all these things. People are interested. They want to know how much it's going to cost before they purchase, and that's definitely their right.
Crazy Americans.
Yes. Many people have purchased already the pens and the pads, and as well as the magnet unit, which and she's waiting. It's been a couple of months, but probably she'll get it in 90 days or so. So it's a little bit stationary, but as soon as as I said, Arizona manufacturing comes alive, things would be rolling pretty fast.
Cool. Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing, Jack. We really appreciate it. Thank you for stepping up to the plate. So, there's so many ways that we can become involved with this. And again, beautiful that this gentleman has made the choice to put his skills into helping bring this forward through the system, through ways that people can purchase products. And then there's so many things you guys can do here locally. What a great community you've got. I mean, what an amazing bunch of people already right here. You guys really could be a hub. Whitney and I, as we've been traveling, have been talking a lot about, people to people, making these things, bringing the plasma to the people, making items that each one of us is capable of making and sharing it with others, having Etsy stores, selling it, giving it away, whatever seems to work for us. But there's so much that can be done here. And it's easy to get into, the Keshe manufacturing needs to do it. But again, we all need to do it. That's one piece. And the other pieces are each of us doing things. So we have here a gentleman who's called Dr. Rodrigo, although that's not really Rodrigo's his first name, right?
Right.
And Dr. Rodrigo's amazing. I got to go be in his health device today, and Whitney did too. It was really awesomely cool, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But Dr. Rodrigo has been a physician, and maybe you want to tell us a little bit about your background and how you came into this Keshe work. But at this point, he's really given his life and his energy to helping bring this new technology forward, and he's doing wonderful things. As soon as people heard we were coming here and we were going to get to experience his health device and visit with him, they were like, we want to go with you. So we're excited to share this, a conversation with him, with our listening audience around the world, and learn a little bit more about what makes him tick and how you got involved with Mr. Keshe. I just enjoyed visiting with you so much this morning. And go ahead and share a little bit about your story, and maybe I'll ask you some questions.
It's a little hard to start with my story because it's really some kind of emotions. The reason I have been a plastic surgeon for 30 years, did my medical school in north of Mexico. Then I did my specialty for 6 years in Mexico City, specialty in plastic reconstructive surgery. Then I went to Madrid, Spain, another year. Then another year in Lucca, Italy. Then I practiced for 30 years. Then in around 2013, my father was given a flu shot, and he started to have problems with kidney. And to make long story short, he ended up with the kidney failure and with hemodialysis. And as a doctor and as a son, I wanted to find something to be able to help him. And I heard about Mr. Keshe technology in 2013. So I was looking for this technology that I heard that will be able to heal 100% of the diseases. So this is it. So, and then I heard that 2014 was going to release to the world. And I asked my dad, hang up. There's a new technology that I will be able to do something to help you. And he passed in July 2014, and then September 2014, this technology was released. So I couldn't help him, but I promised him that I will do my best to bring this technology to the world. And I decided to quit plastic surgery. For 30 years, I was very successful plastic surgeon. I used to have 3 or 4 surgeries a day and being booked for 8 months I had. And I decided just to close the hospital and look for something new. So I got to this technology. I love it. I enjoy it. And I understand this process. And I just want to teach people everything that they learn. I want to spread that. I don't want to keep anything to me. Actually, when you become a student of Keshe technology, or Keshe Foundation, is one of the things. As soon as you get something, you have to spread out that information. This is the only way that will have that technology to all over the world.
So you're one of a group of doctors that works with the Keshe Foundation,
yes,
correct?
we have a special group. Also, Heather joined us. Last week. Yes, we have
Finally let me in.
every Wednesday we have a special meeting with doctors all over the world discussing every single different diseases and technologies that we can apply and start building everything to people. And I have a group of doctors in Mexico and Chile and Argentina, doctors that are building devices. They don't speak English, so they talk to me. And I'm giving all the instructions on to use this technology, and they're having a beautiful results. And they send me the results, all what they have, and I send back to Keshe Foundations to have all that background, all
That's
that
beautiful.
information.
Yeah, you were telling me about someone with Parkinson's this morning who was.
We have so many people.
So many.
Yes, that's Parkinson's story. But Parkinson is actually it's my brother-in-law who has been with Parkinson for many years, and usually he had only 10 minutes. He used to have 10 minutes of normal life during the 24 hours. The rest of the days are trembling and not be able to talk and walk properly. And there's a group of Parkinson people in that community that having a session every month. And they have a group of doctors who decide to start making surgeries on them, and they charge a lot of money, around $30,000 to $50,000 to them. And some of them went to surgery and with poor results. So we discussed that disease with Mr. Keshe, and we decided to do something. So I start doing, give him devices just to hold them. There's pens to hold them and breathing device. And now, after 3 weeks, not even a month, 3 weeks, he had 10 minutes of trembling. I mean, the opposite. Normally he had 10 minutes of normal life. Now he has 10 minutes during the day of not having all those problems or be able to talk.
That is incredible.
Then I have a discussion. we have a session by Skype with them, and we plan to have more because they asked me if I can sell them those devices. I said, nope, I cannot sell you. They were a little sad. I says, no, I want to teach you. I don't want you to spend money. I want you to teach. I want you to bring people to have skills to build this stuff, so we can have a Zoom session or Skype session, so they can start building and they can heal themselves. Actually, with this technology, you heal yourselves. It's not this technology. This technology brings the elements that your body needs in order to heal. So, and they have many people, different kinds of disease that have been through this technology with beautiful results, beautiful, incredible. People with cancer, people with Alzheimer's, Parkinson, you name it.
I got the opportunity for 10 minutes in his, it's not just a device, it's a beingness.
It is.
And I learned something today from you. And this is the difference between this technology and other technologies. You know, before you go into the healing device, he asks you to send it appreciation. And in quantum mechanics, and this is all in this free energy movement, it's an exchange, really. So you send it some love from your heart. You have to have some to get some. There's the difference. And that's why some of this stuff's not working and some of it is. Because you really need to be able to appreciate what's going on here. And it's amazing. I'm still feeling the healing on my body. And I'm an energy healer, and I feel gravitational magnetical fields. I feel energy in the textures and the qualities. And it was like having 20 healers stand around you and each doing work on you. It's absolutely phenomenal. So more people really do need to learn how to build these, more people to build them. And I mean, I know that you're gifting a lot of the time in there just because it needs to be done. There's a lot of people that need help. And so the more people that can start building these devices, it is actually pretty simple. Now, it wasn't simple as we learned how to do it, but it's becoming more and more simple. And as we teach people, they're getting it faster and they're able to show other people faster. How do you connect these coils together? And, how do you nano-coat? I learned something new from you today. Nano-coating in a concave or a pot that goes like this, as opposed to a pot that is straight up and down. Little difference, but it creates a field that goes around. So all of these little innovations as we're doing these things are important. Heather didn't pipe in with her story that her apple tree hardly bore any fruit. For all the time she's here, she sprayed it with CO2 GANS this year once, and it is laden with apples. Laden. Yeah, propped up the branches with 2x4s. Dead tree.
And they're hanging like grapes now.
They're hanging like grapes. Yeah. So I did want to ask, can you guys hear okay?
Yeah.
Are you hearing Dr. Rodrigo also?
Yeah.
Okay, we just want to make sure that everybody can hear because obviously there's some important information going on here. So
Whitney in her other life is a karaoke DJ. She's amazing. So, you know what I would do if I lived in this community and I had Dr. Rodrigo here with me? I would talk him into doing a community workshop, even if it's, like 4 Saturdays in a month or something, teaching every single person who wants to how to build their own unit like this. This is his smaller health unit that he thinks everybody should have one of. And make a video while you guys have the workshop and produce a video from Yelm, Washington with Dr. Rodrigo that will go around the world that will teach people in other communities how to do the same thing. I mean, I would just totally encourage you guys to do that. And, he doesn't have to be the one to initiate it. If you guys feel drawn, call it forth, invite him, ask him, because you have like a treasure here
We have a workshop.
You have a
We
workshop.
have a workshop of 42 people starting to build the main rock. We have a first part workshop, and then we plan to have one day.
Will you build
this
the
part.
health unit?
First, we started to have a workshop with the mag rock. So 42 people start making the mag rock. I'm going to have the second part a few weeks ahead, in a couple of weeks again ahead. And then another group of 48 people building the health unit already. So they started to build it already.
Video it. Please make it into
They're building, and this is the first step, because once you understand how to build this little unit, you can build all the
So
big units.
share what you were sharing with me this morning, that just putting the Magrav units in your house, how that will help your health.
The thing is, you have to understand what is the plasma. Why is helping us? Why? If you understand how the life was created, we have to go a little bit back. On the universe, there's a lot of elements, like all of the periodic table is all over the universe. It happened that between the interaction, the sun and earth, and that interaction, those fields, brings those elements, main elements, carbon, oxygen, hydrogen, and nitrogen, and brings to earth. And earth, the life on earth is being created out of these 4 elements. Plants have 90% of all the plants have those elements. Our body has 96% of the body has those elements. All life is created out of these elements. So, and because Earth rotates around the sun, those elements varies according to the position of the sun, around the position of the Earth around the sun. So, in order to have that balance on Earth, they were creating the entities, or gods were creating different plants, in order to have that balance all over around the globe. So when you were born, you had the capacity to heal yourself. But because now is so much pollution, there's a lot of poisonous on the food, or a lot of vaccines, create an imbalance on the physical and mental body. So we start creating diseases. And this technology brings that balance to your body, so your body will start healing yourself. It's not that the machine will heal you, the patches will heal you. This is only bring the balance in order to make the body remember what the body is capable of doing. So you start healing yourself.
Beautiful. And so how you were saying all of those elements that come to Earth, and how does that relate to the plasma and what you're
This
doing
is
with
the plasma. The technology is imitating that interaction between the sun and Earth to bring those elements. That's those natural elements. It's not a synthetic thing. It's those natural elements that we have on Earth. And because of pollution, we don't have it. We start not having in a proper balance.
So this is kind of drawing in and amplifying those elements in
Yes,
the field.
being in that environment, that you will be normal and stop functioning normal.
So how is this little health unit compared to the big one that we stepped into this morning?
This one creates an energy in between two coils. You just put your hand in the middle, you feel the energy in between. So this one has the battery plasma, and this one doesn't. So it brings the energy from one side to the other. Interact with this. It's like it creates an infinity loop here, and then brings the balance to your body.
Infinity loop.
Yes. So whatever your body has, whatever defect brings that balance to your body, so your body starts changing. So people with arthritis, I have a person who have a cancer in the hand, and it was scheduled to be amputated. Oh boy. And they were going to charge $30,000 for that surgery. So it's just, okay, I'll build this one, put your hand in the middle, you have one of these devices, you use it 1 hour to 10 days. After a month, there was not even a scar in that cancer. Wow.
Okay, you guys, the future is now, as Whitney is fond of saying. Begin absorbing this, living it, taking advantage of it. It's so beautiful. What a great story.
And now this one I posted today. Yesterday I posted on Facebook. I created this one yesterday. It's a simple breathing device. What it does is a tube in the middle, and it's a coils. There's a different tube filled with GANS, CO2 and Zinc gas. It creates a field in between, so you breathe the CO2 and Zinc and bring those elements to your body. As you listen to Mr. Keshe's presentation before we start this, it says give CO2 and Zinc to people and bring the emotions, heal the problems with emotions. Just bring those elements. So you breathe out of this and bring that balance. Everyone in the world will have this one.
So where do you get those cool tubes you have there?
Where?
Yeah.
Lowe's.
Lowe's? Look at you.
Everything is in Lowe's.
Wow.
Everything.
That's amazing. And that outer tube is like a little tube that's wrapped around it?
Yes, it's only a long tube. It's just 16 feet tube. Just wrap
and you
it around.
wrapped it. Oh,
yes,
nice.
That once you wrap it, don't close any edges. Just fill it up and then close it. Because if you close one side and you want to fill it up, there's a lot of air inside. You won't allow to go the GANS through that. So you have to fill it up first, then seal it one side, and then the other side.
That is amazing. And then how would you use it?
Just breathe it.
Breathe it.
And people with COPD, just emphysema, just breathe 3 times fast. I mean, if those people cannot breathe normally, so if they breathe through this, or people with asthma, 3 times deep with that, and we measure how deep the capacity of retaining that air or breathing air. Those people they cannot breathe. Just have a very shallow breathing. So when they start breathing with this, little by little, they will increase that space inside, start to rebuilding the lung tissue. According to the traditional medicine, that's impossible, but we've seen people start feeling better. This is a new device, a new version. The one before I built is the one that Renan from Philippines showed us the first time. It was a pipe with 2 kinds of coils. We use Nano-Coating coils. We fill up with CO2 GANS or Zinc GANS, and then another coil to protect them. So this is another version. We have this, and some people says, okay, we have this liquid, we will have energy inside of that. Yes, there's energy. There's 2 balls. There's plastic balls. Fill what there's 2 balls, one in the center, one outside. As with the one in the center has CO2, and the one on the outside has GANS. And you put it like this. I will pass it to all of you. You feel the energy. So it says energy. It's all the same as the energy inside those tubes. You breathe those elements to your body. You breathe those CO2, you breathe Zinc, and start rebuilding whatever you have to.
And the energy that he's showing you in these balls is some of the newer experimentation with the Keshe technology and the GANSs. And we're putting different, if you look at the atomic table, and then putting different weights of GANSs in the balls, and they begin creating magnetic and gravitational polarities with each other. And then there's so many things that we can do with this. I mean, it seems like a simple little thing. And I say even make mobiles of peace and hang these up in your house. I mean, we're playing with these fields that are so powerful, and just in these simple little ways, they can really change our lives.
The major difference.
It's just the field, the different field. It's the expand of the field. It's bigger. The field is bigger, but pretty much it's the same. I have this. I started if you remember the photo of the unit, I have 2 walls. Now I build has in front, back, and the sides, both sides, and the top and the bottom. And the last teaching, Mr. Keshe said, if you have 4 macrops in a square formation, you put yourself in the middle, you will be able to heal. So my next step, I'm building those macrops, and we'll finish this weekend, hopefully. And I'm going to put up around the health unit. It's going to be more powerful. I'm testing them. As the reason that on Arizona manufacturer says do not give all that information, because they have to test. They don't want crazy people just start making and say, oh, it works or not. They test it. Once they test everything, they will release all that information. It's not that they're going to keep that information for themselves. You just want to test it. They want to be sure that it works, and then they're going to release all that information. As well, I test everything. Once I test something, I release that information as well.
So I know that people out in the listening audience out in the world are gonna want to know, can they contact you? Can they use your health device? But even greater, what would you suggest to people to get on this path themselves?
Okay, I have patients who come, normally people who have diseases like cancer and different diseases come to the unit, but it comes 1 hour, 3 times a day. And I have four different people who come 3 hours a day, so it's almost 12 hours.
Wow.
So that's why people, I want to go to your home, and so I would love to have you at my home and test the unit, but most of the time it's busy. Some people is using inside that unit as they have to use it for an hour, 3 times a day, and it has to be in intervals of 3 hours. So it comes 1 hour, wait 3 hours, come back another hour, use it, wait 3 hours, and then again 3 hours. So I cannot have more than 4 people there, actually 3.
So basically what we have here is the Mograph coils. You've got a double set of Mograph coils, right? But they're connected a little bit differently than they are for Mograph.
They are completely different. The coils are the same. The coils is 144 turns, and the outer coils and the small ones is 81, the same as the Mograph, but the connections are totally different.
And so is there some place people could obtain the connections? Have you published?
Yes, it's on our website.
In
the blueprints,
Okay.
Keshe Foundation blueprints, you can find all that information. Or go to Keshe Foundation Philippines, they have all the photos. Or mine, I'm going to post that connections. I don't have mine, but I'm going to post it on my Facebook.
We'd love to have,
Yes.
I mean, I think Whitney knows some of it, but it'd be nice to really know for sure how this is being done, because I think there's going to be a lot of people who are going to want to put their own together. I mean, the story of the guy who they wanted to amputate his hand and just putting it in between here, and a month later for cancer, and there's no scar even. I mean, sure, leave.
Yeah, Doctor, are you finding out any differential as to when those coils are set at a 90-degree juxtaposition there? If you're like at 87 or 77, is there any differential?
Why they are in horizontal? The one is
well, you've got the one that looks like from where I'm sitting, like the one on the left is like pretty much at 90 degrees to the other. The one on the right here looks like it might be not quite 90 degrees. It might be 75 degrees.
Yes. If you see the Mograph is horizontal. It creates a field like this, like a toroid field. This one creates this is a magnetical pulls energy. So they pull in between, and this is the gravitational brings energy in between. They pull in each other, and that the magnetical allows them to make that loop. So the strong field is in between these two magnetical fields. If you put it horizontal, you won't have that field. You won't feel it as well. It's a different. When you have a Mograph, you put the GANS in between. You have that energy, that energy in between the. It's a toroid field, and you have the GANS in the center. You have strong field. So this one has the energy goes in between these two horizontal coils, which goes the gravitational field.
And you were saying it makes an infinity?
It makes an infinity field. Yes, that's what it do. The infinity loop. Yes. Sir.
That person, does it need to be in the middle of both of the coils?
No.
I'm asking because how about building a room and then have many people in that room, and then all of them they get health and at the same time.
I understand your questions. Yes, when you have a health unit, you have to avoid two places: the spine and the brain. For that, we use zinc wires and zinc GANS. But with this one, you can use this one for any part of your arm, your leg, even for your heart. You put one in front, one behind. You can use that too, but not in the spine. You don't put in the middle. You cannot put this all around, like make a circle of this, because it will affect your spine. It will affect your brain. So the new device, the new development that are coming is using different magraphs. The 18 and 12 and 6 magraphs.
6 in the middle and 12 around.
Yes, and create a field around, which is different of this. When we build it, all the sizes, it says we have 4 in front, 4 behind, 1 line of coils on the side and the other side 1, not 2, because if we have 2, we'll hit the spine. So we only have 1 in order to cover in front of the spine, your body in front of the spine. Make sense?
I haven't heard anything about teeth. Will this take decay out of teeth or whatever?
There's a technique that Mr. Keshe explained on Knowledge Seekers Workshop that we're using nano-coated plates in between the teeth and GANS outside, but it's a difficult process because you have to make the dentists know how to build the molds around the teeth. They will able to put those coils in between the area in order to regrow the teeth.
So would it be coils or flat?
It's a coil. No, not coils. It's a little plates.
Little
nano-coated
plates.
Just little plates in between the space of the tooth.
For healing or regrowing teeth.
Yes.
So
You have the 2 plates. 1 plate in. They have this is your teeth, or this is your teeth. This is your cheeks. This is your tongue. You put 1 plate here, 1 plate on the other side, and then outside you put patches. There's a different concentration of zinc, CO2, copper oxide, and CO2, GANS, and amino acids.
this is so exciting. I mean, you guys think this is exciting?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
You can put patches in the air for echo ear. You can put patches.
She's asking about
Patches
patches
for
in the ear for echo in the ear.
For tinnitus.
When I talk, I use my voice. This is the only plan. Doctors say I don't have nothing. But I can do patches.
Well, we discussed that tinnitus are like have noise inside your ear, and yes, we discussed that with Mr. Keshe, and you have to find out if the dentist, if you have a dentist job and you have metals in your teeth, that creates different fields, and interfere with your own fields, and then make different noises. That's
I don't have metals.
no metals.
No, nothing.
No, but you have to check the
What?
what.
Drop the CO2 here. That's a drop, no.
No, we haven't used eardrops. I mean,
Patches.
patches. You can use patches, but you have to find. Let's see if you have a problem like the C's. You have a nerve problem, a damage inside. So you have to find out which one is the more damaged. Because now I'm treating a 10-year-old boy who, when he was born, he was treated with a lot of antibiotics, and it damaged your your ears, the hearing system. She doesn't hear now. So I had to find out which one has less damage, and I used a helmet and patches to create a flow of energy and to be able to regrow that part of the nerve that was damaged during that time.
Zinc? Oh.
Zinc? No, I use it if you want to regrow tissue, brain tissue. You have to use calcium and zinc. Calcium and zinc, but you have to put on different concentration. If you have the damage on the right side, you have to put the higher concentration on the highest in the right side and less concentration on the other side to bring that energy from this side to the other side and bring the balance in order to heal.
Yeah, because as a doctor, put something on cheek here, I have nothing. I don't have nothing. But I continue when I sleep, I can, because I think my voice here.
So it's on the one side.
This part only. And And then now I listen.
Yes, you can use the patches. You can use patches of CO2 patches and calcium patches. Put calcium and CO2 patches, more concentration on the right side and less concentration on the left side.
Patches, more magnet too is good. Magnet, good patches, no.
Magnet?
Yes.
No, don't put any magnets.
Oh yes. But no drop. Let's drop here. The CO2.
No drops.
No drops.
Patches, it's patches. Thank you.
Very exciting.
We're learning.
There's so much potential here, and we're just in the, we're in the baby stages of a whole new science being born, and our minds and hearts taking us beyond this old system and the possibilities, embracing it, believing in it, recognizing it, and putting it into practice so we can find out. Well, anybody else have any comments, questions? Leaf?
I was just wondering, do you have any experience with hernias? Not yet.
Would you like some?
I would think iron.
Would you like an experience? Yeah. I would be glad to share some with you.
I just want to thank you all for coming tonight. Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Rodrigo. Very awesome. What a wonderful gentleman to have in your community. And I know he's affecting, how doctors are moving forward around the world who are interested in this. So thank you so much for all you're doing. It was really a privilege to visit with you and to participate with your health unit. And I encourage you guys, learn with him, grow with him. I'd love to see you guys make some videos of what you're doing because I think a lot of people learn from it, just the construction. Anybody have any other comments, questions, stories? Heather, thank you so much for putting this together. And Whitney, thank you so much for being here, traveling with me. And
Joelle and Christina.
oh yeah, Joelle and Christine, I know you helped out. I think there's a lot of people that have helped you, right, Heather? And Linda. Just thanks to everyone in the community who's helped. It's really a privilege to be here in Yelm, Washington. We felt like we were just driving into an energetic bubble when we came here. Powerful, beautiful energy here. And you guys have the ability to resonate this out, to amplify what you're resonating here out to the world. And so we want to encourage you, use the plasma energy. Grab 5 friends and come this weekend, Sunday, Monday, to the Expo, and little hands-on workshops so you guys can learn this. It's kind of a different way than we've been teaching as we've been traveling. And I just want to say thanks to the Keshe Foundation, thanks to Mr. and Mrs. Keshe and the entire Keshe team that's working all around the world. They can be found at keshefoundation.org. Whitney and I can be found on Facebook and Many Hands for Peace with the number 4, Many Hands for Peace, and 21st Century Superhuman, the number 21.com. We are here to serve the greater good and to help encourage, inspire humanity to move towards a civilization founded in love with peace and plenty for all. So if we could, I'm going to lay the mic down and maybe we can all stand together and breathe and smile again. And we can send some energy to this GANS, which is going to go out. It'll get mixed with other GANSes as we go on the journey. And those of you who come this Sunday can bring a little jar, and you can take your own little jar of this GANS home and participate in this Peace Resonance Project. Thank you all so much. Yes.
While we're sending our intentions to this GANS, know that just like us with our multidimensional DNA that's hooked up to every other being on this planet, this is hooked up to every other bottle of GANS on this planet that's being spread around. And all of the countries, it's been poured in all of the fountains, been disseminated the ways that it is. So as we amplify that intention here, it gets amplified across the planet.
Thank you. So everybody stand up and let's breathe and smile together. And I'd like to actually hold Standing Rock here because I think it's a really huge voice that's happening right now calling for really honoring Mother Earth, which is in ways that have not been done. I think it's a special movement going on right now for the crazy election going on in the U.S. That we rise beyond political parties, we rise beyond country borders and economic systems, and we begin living in the abundance, the beauty, and the health that we were designed to for everyone. And that corporate greed changed from corporate greed to service to humanity and the planet. That one thing would just change it all. So much love to everyone, many blessings. Let's just take a deep breath and smile.
You're on candid camera.
Activate the neurobiology of intentions and perceptions of love. Every time you breathe and smile, carry that with you. Do it everywhere you go. And let's just have a moment of silence and send the energy of peace from our hearts into this beautiful GANS and all the GANSes and all the plasmatic fields connected around the world. Thank you all so much. Many blessings, and we'll see you on the great rainbow of light as we work together, live together, move together into a world founded in peace.